Wow, I am, and we are very, very excited to start this common journey together. A journey of the next 2 weeks, a journey of 6 meetings, a journey of introduction to Love School. And I want to share that I'm touched and honored that more than 200 people had resonance to the call that we just sent to the world for learning together, not only introduction to Love School, but also learning to end war. And just the fact that 200 people, and more than 200 people from all over the world had the resonance, yes, this is what we want to learn together. Thank you. Thank you. And maybe we see from where we are before we start to introduce the details. And I will ask Ruth to share the screen of the map that shows from where are we now, in which places it's the morning, in which places it's the evening, the night. We have more than 200 participants from more than 30 countries in the world. We almost see what you can see also when you enter to Sutra, our study platform. And when you go to networking, to the part of networking, you can see this, what we right now don't manage to show.
It was very short.
Yeah, it doesn't. Just to say that we will try a lot of new things. Here it is. Thank you. So to say that we'll try a lot of things that we try for the first time. So be patient and graceful with us as we are learning by doing. And yeah, this is the map that shows the different locations from which we are coming from Australia to California. Yeah. So this is also a reminder of the globality of this meeting, of this coming together, of this learning. Yeah, thank you. And another thing I want to say that we tried for the first time and I want to celebrate is the gift economy method. Yeah, we told you, you can choose to pay for this seminar 0 or 1,000 euros. And it was a risk, or it was a daring step for us. We didn't know. It's really the first time in the online education that we tried. And it was such a gift to receive the gifts from you. So I want to say thank you to more or less 25% who chose to gift nothing in matter, in money. And thank you for the 25% more or less who chose to gift more than 200 euros. So all in all, it was balanced, and we feel very much gifted also on this level of economy or the money that we receive. Thank you that we are able to allow everyone who wants to join this course to do it in the way that fits to you. And yeah, also one person gifted us with 1,000 euros. I also want to say thank you that we already now this group that you can see already now support each other and solidarity with each other. Thank you for this experiment. Yes, we will have our first webinar today. And after the introduction, I will introduce Sabine Lichtenfels and Benjamin Mendelssohn, who will accompany us in 5 of the 6 webinars. In the 4th webinar, next week, it will be Aida Shibli and me. My name is Uri Ayalon, and I will be the host of this course together with Ruth. On the 4th webinar, I will also be the speaker together with Aida, and we will talk about perspectives of queer and indigenous, women of color, love and sexuality. And I mentioned Ruth Gordon, and we ask you to not use the public chat during the next 2 hours, except of the parts that we will ask you specifically to do it. But if you want to communicate with us, please write a private message to Ruth. Her name is Ruth Online Education, and now she shows herself. Can you see her? No, they cannot see you. Can you pin yourself? Can you unmute yourself or raise your hand? Raise the hand in the electronic way, and then it, yeah. Now, can you see her?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay. So if you want to deliver us important message, please deliver to her, and she will communicate with us. As you can imagine, it's a big challenge to communicate between 200 people or more than 100 people all together, and we'll do our best to digest your feedback and communication. I want to make sure that all of us know how to use some of the tools in Zoom. Can we send hearts to each other? Can you just go to reaction on the bottom of your screen and choose heart? Beautiful. Beautiful. Oh, what a heartful picture it is. Thank you. And now another tool. So heart, when your heart is open, when you heard something in the follow time that we'll spend, that open your heart, that you identify, yes, you can express it also with a good heart. I think we are, okay, we are fine. Another tool is to remind us to slow down. We are not English speakers from mother tongue. And anyway, we all have the tendency to be a little bit too fast. So when you need to slow down, also in the reaction, and now I ask you also to use this, like you use the heart, it's gray arrows that you can now ask me to slow down. Mm-hmm. Thank you for the reminder. So from now on, I will try to remember to speak slower, to include all of us together. Thank you for the reminder. Another tool that we want to use is captions. So Ruth already activated the option for you to choose to have captions, to have subtitles for this meeting. Sometimes it will appear strange because it's automatic subtitles. But anyway, if you go to the bottom of your screen, there is an option of on and off captions. If you don't find it, go to more, the 3 dots, and you can activate your captions if you like. See if it works for you. For some people, it helps to digest a big amount of information, to have it also in a written form. I see you discover it. Thank you for all the ones with open camera. It's great to see your faces and to feel us. Yes. I think we are ready to have our welcome ceremony. And can you bring the 2 papers that I forgot on my table? Sorry. We realize that, no, 2 papers, sorry. We wait a moment. Thank you, thank you. Yeah, just to acknowledge that we realize that the identities that we bring with us, the identities that we carry, are influencing the way that we study, the way that we hear, the way that we experience love and sexuality. And for this, we want to have a short ceremony to welcome all of us and to create a safe space for all different identities that this beautiful, diverse group carry together. So we would like to welcome people of all genders, women, men, trans, genderqueer, non-binary, or others. We would like to welcome people of African descent, Asian descent, Arab descent, European descent, South American descent, and people of mixed, multiple descent. Welcome. We would like to welcome the languages which are spoken here: Spanish, English, Hebrew, French, Arabic, Bulgarian, Croatian, Greek, Turkish, Japanese, Finnish, Irish, Portuguese, Montenegrin, Chinese, Dutch, Estonian, Italian, Polish, sign languages, and all other languages I haven't mentioned. Welcome. We would like to welcome people with disabilities, visible or invisible.
There are gray arrows to slow down.
Thank you. Thank you. We would like to welcome people with disabilities, visible and invisible, and people with chronic pain. Welcome. We would like to welcome gay, lesbian, bisexual, heterosexual, pansexual, asexual, queer, or others from whom none of these labels fit. Welcome. We would like to welcome survivors. Welcome. We would like to welcome people who identify as activists and people who don't. Welcome. We would like to welcome single, married, partnered, dating in monogamous or polyamorous relations, those who are sexually active and those who aren't. Welcome. We would like to welcome those in their teens. We have, I think, at least 5 who are less than 20s. We would like to welcome those who are in their 20s, 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, and also 80s. I think at least one of the participants is 87 years old. Welcome and thank you for being our elder. Thank you. Welcome. We would like to welcome your emotions, joy and bliss, grief, rage, and also disappointment. Welcome. We would like to welcome those who support you to be here. Welcome. Thank you for them. We would like to welcome your families, your genetic families, and also families of choice. Welcome. We would like to welcome people with different faiths, religions, traditions, private practices, don't belong to tradition, agnostics, atheistics, seekers. Welcome. We would like to welcome those dear to us who have died. Welcome. We would like to welcome our elders, those here, those in our lives, and those who have passed away. Welcome. We would like to welcome your feelings about learning online. Yeah, for some of you it is a big challenge to connect and get information, and for some of you, you are in your element. Welcome. We would like to welcome those of you who are caring for children during this time and those who aren't. Welcome. Maybe to say that Yuval is one of the people who supports this team and is behind the camera, and together we are fathers of a beautiful daughter, and there is someone who is taking care of our daughter. So we send her and them welcome and thank you. We would like to welcome the different time zones and locations in this space. Welcome. We would like to welcome your bodies into the space. And especially in an online experience, it's easy to forget that we have bodies. So maybe remember to include all parts of our bodies also in this experience of being together. Welcome. And now I would like to ask you to write to the chat, to the general chat, not to a private message to Ruth, but to the chat if there are any parts of your identity that we missed and you want to welcome into the space. I can't see the chat, so we need your support to open the chat for us. So Jenny is writing, I want to welcome our rational and irrational parts to the space. Welcome. Sabrina is adding, welcome to spirituality and connectedness to higher source. Welcome. Alfonso, welcome our fears and insecurities from which we will grow. Welcome. Welcome to our nervous system from Anne. Welcome. Kathy, welcome to the mothers and fathers and parents. And Daniel, King of Hearts, welcome. Francie, welcome to the earth. Wonder, welcome. And Bibi, welcome to the other than human world. Welcome. And Julian, welcome to the non-human creatures. Yes, we are together. Thank you and welcome. I feel all of us feel a bit less nervous, a bit more, in our togetherness through this symbolic ceremony, which brought me into tears. When I said welcome to the dears of one who died, there is a very dear friend of us, a woman who lived in Tamara, who 10 days ago passed away in the age of 42. Her name is Mena. And we'll also have the chance to see a short video showing her beauty. So just to share from where my tears came and coming again. So thank you for the ceremony. Thank you for your hearts and open eyes. And now, before I fully introduce Sabine Lichtenfels and Benjamin von Mendelssohn, we take some minutes to include our bodies. And I want to introduce a short exercise of first, let's take 3 deep breaths. And close your eyes, you don't need to look to me or to the screen. And now I invite you to open your eyes, but instead of looking to the screen, to start to scan the room in which you are. So you go to the left side, even behind your shoulder, and start to scan this room very, very slow. And if you think you are slow, try to be even much more slower. Just have a look. And you go slowly from the left to the right. Thank you. If you arrive to the right side behind your shoulder, you can now do something similar in the screen. And now I ask all of you to open your cameras, the ones who are with close camera. And now try with the same slowness and care to look to the faces on the screen. And Yuval, if you can come and help us to see the other screens. yeah, you need to move not only in your screen, but as we are so many, when you finish the screen, we ask you to go to see the next one. We have 5 screens all in all. Beautiful. Thank you. You bring us back to the first one. Thank you so much. Also touching to see familiar faces. And I see another reminder to slow down. Thank you, Adam. And now, I want to say thank you for your patience. Like you are our teachers and stars, and we let you wait for so long. I hope you also enjoyed and connected through this. And I want to say thank you to Sabine Lichtenfels and Benjamin von Mendelssohn for trying to take something that they have quite an experience with of holding a love school, trying to take some elements of it and to make this experiment of creating this intimacy and learning together about this tender issue of love and sexuality in an online platform. So thank you for daring. And Sabina Lichtenfels, the co-founder of Tamara, Healing Biotop, since the age of 16, is carrying the dream and the vision of creating a peace village. And big parts of her dream were manifested already. I want to say thank you for carrying this dream and not letting it being only a dream, only a vision, but that it's a home for me, for many of us, and a home for big thoughts of changing the world, of healing the world. So thank you for staying faithful for your dream.
Thank you.
Welcome. And Benjamin von Mendelssohn, also a holder of the Global Love School, also a father of 5 children, also a holder of the peace pilgrimages or grace pilgrimages together with Sabine Lichtenfels. In 2005, I had the honor to be part and to be led by Benjamin and Babette, and to go into a crisis area with the courage to, on one hand, to be witness and to come in grace, and on the other hand, also to say what needs to be changed or to stay political, yeah. So thank you for your networking and courage of being activist of the heart.
Thank you.
Thank you. And I will ask 2 questions, for each one of you a question, and then we will have time for breakout rooms for you to find your questions. And then most of the time that we'll spend together will be the possibility for you, the participants, to bring your question. But as a warm-up, and also out of my curiosity, I want to start with my questions and then
Again,
have
the
the space.
sign for slow down.
Yeah. Thank you for the reminder to slow down. So very slowly and carefully, I want to ask you, Sabine, when we talk about social architecture to allow truth in love, I want to break this question, this headline, and first to ask, why truth actually? Because, love and sexuality, for some people, it would be a space actually of no, truth will not be the most important thing, or sometimes even the opposite. Like you can cheat, you can play with your identity, you can get excited by lying or being different things in different options in different places. So why we talk about truth in love?
So first of all, welcome to all of you. Thank you for being with us. And if Uri mentioned Babette, this is me also, this is my nickname. And I try now with all this coming from the room, looking, what did I see? I met a lot of global aspects in this room. And from this question to come, why truth? And then the second question is also very much aware then, what is truth? And for me, Uri told that I already with 16 had the dream to show that another life is possible. For me, this is the approach. The main approach is that I faced already when I was 14, 15, awakening with all my sexual feelings, that I noticed here is an area where there is not spoken much. It's very private. And just to notice that the word private, it is coming from taking away something from the whole. And in this sense, I feel that figuring out truth is for me the key for figuring out how can real contact really happen. And I feel that the wound of humanity is very much that we have a separation between our political action, our way of behavior in political life, and our private life. And truth will make it possible for us to really come in contact from heart to heart and to understand that we are global beings. We are not mainly private beings. We are part of a universe. And I think truth enables us to open the channel that we are community beings wherever we are and however we are conditioned. And so the research for truth, what is truth about, is for me a key issue to figure out how can we arrange ourselves in living in transparency in a community. And it's work. I think often we are even not aware that we lie. We are so much conditioned in some thinkings, in some opinions, that we lost what is truth about. And I feel truth is contact, real contact from soul to soul, from center to center. Yeah, I could say much more, but for now, this is my answer.
Thank you. Thank you. So I want to continue with this line of looking to the headline of this webinar and to ask you, Benjamin, about what does it mean social architecture? And in your experience, what were the social architectures that helped you to bring your truth?
I mean, social architecture is quite a fancy word. And we used to say social design. And what it means really is to create spaces consciously create spaces where things that are not spoken normally can be spoken. And if you start to discover in yourself and in your friends and in your parents and your society, how much is not spoken, which is actually really important to you, then you start to understand that it needs spaces for those things to be expressed. And the more intimate they are, the more they go to the core of our desire and longing, the more delicate they feel. So many times our rather anonymous culture, which goes further and further into not being in direct contact, but living in an online sphere and living in a somewhat a global community, but less and less with direct contact to people and the sources that nourish us. And in that, we need really intimate spaces to express and to even find out what is important to us. So social architecture for transparency and truth means that we consciously say, okay, this needs to be a safe space, as Uri just did in the beginning, to welcome all identities. Like we have 200 people, and if you don't do that, 5 people will not feel welcome and drop out immediately. They still might stay on the screen, but they will not reveal what is important to them. And in our experience and understanding to heal love and sexuality, an essential step is revelation. Like with beyond judgment, like I don't know why I feel this desire, but the first step to deeper understand it and start working towards a culture that integrates the longing and potential fulfillment of each one, we need this revelation. And the revelation will only happen when you feel safe. It's funny, when Sabine spoke about truth, I also had this very simple moment when Uri said, sometimes it's exciting to be cheating or playing roles. Yes, all true, and no judgment on it when that excites you. And there's a deeper layer where whenever we do not speak the truth, there's something in us that knows it. And every lie, every untruth that is spoken gives the potential to be discovered, to be disclosed, and to be caught lying. And that creates a fear. And in the moment I am in fear, my body closes down and does not open up for love. So there's something very fundamental about truth. And there are many more aspects, but I just thought about this one. Whenever you do not speak the truth, you, at the same time, you activate the fear that truth will be discovered. And yes, there's a slightly exciting part of it, but that's a rather small aspect to the damage that this fear does in the larger sphere. And my experience with architectural social design for truth and transparency, maybe I take an old one that we don't do so much these days, but it was a social design. You know, there's any kind of event, there is a dinner or a party in the evening in a group of people. And whenever there's a group of people, there is a network of obvious attractions, like there are couples or lovers or outspoken attractions. And then there is a not spoken network of attractions, like likings and dislikings. And the spoken ones and the known ones play a role, but the unspoken ones and unknown ones play at least as big a role. So for many years, when we had such a gathering, especially if it was in the evening, at the end of the evening, we said, okay, so what's in the space, truthfully? And this is not something I recommend immediately to every group, because we many times said that we called it good night rounds. And it was a chance to speak, what would you like to do? Like, apart from this is my partner, this is my lover, this is whatever, you speak what your wish would be.
Maybe
And
to give context, when Benjamin says we, it means
in the
we
community,
camera.
in the community, yes, I mean in the community. And it's a practice, and sometimes dreams become fulfilled because you never dare to say this is an attraction, and it just works. But the main point of it was actually studying and understanding the unspoken network and how much influences a space. So sometimes we had rounds where it was just like, wow, spoken and matches made for the evening. The next morning you saw people happy. And in other places, it was a lot of work, because excavating these unspoken things is not only comfortable. And the goal of it was not that everybody is happy and has their dream fulfilled, but the goal was that everything is spoken, that people can rest in peace for that night with having spoken what they wanted, sometimes even having spoken their frustrations, but knowing each other and knowing what is front in desire and longing. That was a very simple social design with a lot of impact in my life. Yeah, because especially like if I was invited by somebody and then I noticed, wow, I'm so compromised. If somebody says, I really like you, Benjamin. I want to spend the night with you. It's very, very challenging, the way that I am conditioned to say, well, thank you, but I actually would like that. That is a very challenging thing, but it's a mechanism that is active all the time. So that was a chance for me to build trust in my impulses and to see other people's impulses in a space of transparency. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I feel that now the question itself about truth and social architecture is more clear and yeah, can land also how it is in Tamara, but also to start to activate you. How is your social architecture, and where are you in relating to truth? And for this, we want now to send you for breakout rooms in small groups. Some will be in pairs, some will be in triplets. And Ruth will also send now on the chat what we want you to ask each other. And basically it's to reflect on what you heard till now and to find your question. We remind you that the question should refer to the issue of the webinar. We will have a webinar for the issue of jealousy. We'll have a webinar for the issue of spirituality. But this one is mainly about community or other social architectures and about truth in love. And we want you to help each other to find your question, knowing that with so many participants, we will not be able to answer all questions. And still, it's good to find your question. So we give you now 7 minutes in the small groups, and then we come together and we'll have the chance to answer your questions. So good luck and enjoy.
Are we muted?
Welcome back. Beautiful to see your faces after having these spaces. I'm very curious what happened in your rooms, and maybe just to see, you can do it with your hands or with the reactions button to show us if it was not working for you or really good for you. To be together, to find questions, to support each other. Also good to see the in-between. It's not only bad and good, there is also in-between. Okay, good. And now we would like to ask you to post your questions on the chat for all of us. No, for all of us or private to you? For everyone. So now, please write your question for the issue of the webinar, send it on the chat, and Ruth has the amazing task. And if one on this planet Earth can do it, it's Ruth Gordon. I will need to do it tomorrow, and please pray for me. But I trust Ruth to find, to tell us who at least will bring your question, the first one, then she will have more time to go through the question and to see what fits. Okay, so I would like to ask Alfonso to open your microphone and to bring your question to us.
Okay, I wasn't ready. Hi, everyone. So the first question that we have here is, so how do you know that you're actually speaking the truth? No, because even ourselves, it's a discovery process constantly. We might also be conditioned.
How do we know that we say the truth? As we trick ourselves thinking that we are in the truth, but actually, as we are conditioned, we are not. Beautiful question. Thank you, Alfonso.
Yeah, exactly. I said it already in the beginning. What is truth? And I think if I look to this globe, what is happening right now, my feeling is that very often we think our opinion is the truth. And a lot of war and a lot of fight is coming out of this. And to figure out what is the truth, I first have to learn to come in contact with myself and to see that there is a difference between what I say and what I feel. And to figure out how can I learn to bring this in real resonance and then to dare to share. When we work here together in our forum spaces, we created the sentence that we said, seeing is loving. And then we notice that there is so much hidden stuff inside of us and daring to reveal it. And we feel normally, if we dare, it starts a little fear. And I think, oh, if I say this, they will judge me. So truth is something beyond judgment. And then there is I would call it like a biocomputer inside of our cell system, which knows about the truth. And the truth is universal. It's a power of life which will guide us, and we can learn to come in contact with this. And for this, I need the mirror. So we often say the individual being is a community enterprise. And by daring to share the truth and by the reflection which happen, I will figure out more and more and more what is my real truth. And also in meditation, we will discover, for example, I'm sitting here, I'm saying I'm a woman, I'm born in Germany, I'm 67 years old, all this, on a way it's true. And if I go to a deeper level and leave all of this behind, then I will discover someone who is bearing witness to everything. And to come to this point, and from there coming in contact, this for me is a communal truth where we are looking for, and which is beyond worldviews. Yeah, so far my first answer. Thank you for this question.
I add?
Yes, please.
So, Alfonso, thank you for saying so nicely. We might be conditioned. Yes, we might be conditioned. It's very likely that we are conditioned. And nevertheless, I mean, first of all, to take away the idea that it's an absolute truth moment and this will be true forever. I mean, I don't know, probably all of us have discovered that something was really precisely true and a revelation and the thing in a moment, and a year later, some years later, it looks totally different. So I give space to that subjectivity and relativity. And still I want to say that, yes, it is true, we are conditioned, but there's also something in us, like almost like a organ, a spiritual organ, that we can train and activate because it has been closed off. I mean, pretty much early as children, we knew that something was not true, what that was going on in the adult world, and it was dimmed down and dimmed down and dimmed down, and then we closed it down. But it is still there. In our energetic, spiritual physiology, anatomy, it is still there. So it can be reactivated. And that's the process we want to invite. And it starts, yes, with truth to ourselves, like really admitting what's going on. And then this moment to share it, which is a revelation in itself. And then there are these places where truth is uncomfortable. And I don't say that in every moment that I just say exactly what I believe is true and what I always needed to tell you. But if you are in a group that has a commitment to be together, even uncomfortable truth, even painful truth, if it's truth, is usually healing. And that's something, a conditioning I think we need to profoundly change, because we are afraid of it. As I said before, we are afraid of being discovered. Even if we are not consciously lying, we are afraid of being discovered. I mean, just observe yourself. How many times you think, oh God, if somebody would know that, and then you don't even know it yourself. But there is a truth that we can reactivate and say, yes, we want to know it because we understand how healing truth is in the long run. And the last thing I want to say is a distinction between truth and emotional honesty. Because I can say very honestly, oh, what you just said hurt me, and I'm very angry. And I think because you said something against me, I find you are, you name it, whatever swear word you want to put in. And that is a emotional honesty, yes, but in a larger frame of truth, most of these emotional reactions come from my conditioning. They have nothing to do with you. So when I start understanding that, I might be angry on an emotional level, and it's good to have spaces where this emotional honesty can take place, but it's also really essential to have spaces where there is a truth that goes beyond this emotional reaction. Because when I am angry and I'm offended by you, that's true for my emotional body, but what is a deeper truth is that I've been hurt way before, let's say in the childhood, or you go even further back. And that is more true than my anger. Yeah, and that's just one example. And these are layers that we need to excavate and explore if we want to come closer to the truth of love and sexuality. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you for the beautiful question and the beautiful answers. And I think you brought one of the radical aspects that I find in the perspective that Tamara offers of, like, before I came to Tamara, I thought truth is, you find it when you go to a mountain and you meditate by yourself and you are only with yourself, with no conditions from others, with no society, and then you know the truth. And Tamara offers a very different perspective of how to find truth through the contact with people, through the mirrors, through bringing my truth and starting to answer this question that you brought, Alfonso. Okay, what is from the conditioning and what is from my inner core? And Sabine mentioned the forum as a tool that we use here in Tamara to allow a deeper level of truth. And I know that some of us in this circle of this Zoom meeting, some of us participated in forum, and for some of us, it's the first time to hear the term forum. And instead of talking about it, I want to show a video of 2 minutes, also describing what is the tool, but also bringing some images that we can connect to what do we mean when we say forum. So we share the screen and we watch the video.
Probably one of the most challenging paradigm shifts that we approach in Tamara in love is turning it from a very private matter into a public one.
Forum is our temple to come every day and to see each other in a sacred way, in a way that builds trust. Usually the things that I wouldn't share with people, these are the things that we try to bring to the forum.
Welcome to the forum. My heart is beating today, and I feel like
I love to call it the world stage. The people can go into the middle and reveal themselves with everything, with their troubles, with their fears, with their love, with their pain, yeah, with everything. And so it's this platform where this inner work and this inner tumult of humanity becomes visible.
And by this we learn that actually there is no place for shame, for guiltiness, for secrets, for lies. A culture which is based on truth is a peace culture.
שיר ליום השבת, טוב להודות לאדוני.
Thank you. The woman who was singing in the end together with Gabriel is Mena, that I mentioned in the beginning, our beloved who passed away 10 days ago. So yeah, we include her in this experience. And we could now dive into the issue of forum, but I want to make as much as space for the other questions. So I will follow the instructions of Ruth, and I will ask Isabelle Umbezero Valent to open your microphone and to share with us your question. Isabella.
Hi.
Hello.
Hello. I think my internet's not so well. I will try to speak. My question is what conditions can create trust?
Thank you for this question. We will spend the next lifetime at least trying to answer it. Yes. What are the conditions to build trust? What is the social architecture or any other conditions, tools to build trust?
I think this is the main work with which we started this project. And in the beginning, we thought if we build community, if we share our truths, we will have 3 years to step out of our conditioning, and then we will have the solution. And now I would say it is work for some generations to really figure out what is the moment where we really can learn to trust into the guidance of life. And Uri mentioned before that when he entered the project, that he was thinking he has to go to the mountain and to find the inner silence. And I would say, for me, it's both. It's really both. That we have the possibility to create a social design where we have really time to be aware that we are community beings. And I would say we are not only human community beings, we are community beings with nature, with life, with creation. And to build a kind of awareness about this, often we get lost in our human role. And so I would say this both is for me creating conditions that we relearn to discover self-love. What is the power what created me? What is the power that I'm able now to speak here, to share here? What is the divine power which created us? And I noticed, even because I'm going often into very challenging situations and crisis areas even, I need to find back to my trust into life. And I notice that I'm so often subconsciously driven by fear. So there is a point of trust building which we can discover in our own soul by becoming more and more and more aware of the reality of life. I think the life itself carries a power, a wisdom, I could also say a matrix, where we can relearn to trust in, to figure out the inner guidance. And the next step then is to create human spaces where we are able and learn and relearn to reveal ourselves. And this is work. And this needs a kind of compassion, a kind of Anteilnahme. It's compassion that I'm interested in you. Who are you? If you are in a love relationship, how often do we feel, I know you already? But are we saying in these questions, who are you? And even when you mentioned now Mena, who passed over, what is this whole life story that we are here as humanity? And my feeling is that there is a possibility to remember, that we remember that we are in a membership of a globe, in a membership of community, and that we remember that we are community beings, whether we want or not. And there is the biggest wound, and there is also the biggest gift that we can heal. And I often say, even in an enterprise, you can discover at your workplace, we are community just now. Even we all now are for this common time where we share this love school, we are a community entity, and to figure out how can we create the best possibility to create trust. It's work, and it's a beautiful work. And without Geist, without real, I can also say without learning awareness, we won't do the work. Yeah.
Anything to add?
Yeah, I would agree, especially to the part that some of discovering truth and trust is on the mountain because of the social sphere. It's so dense that we need these moments many times. But I also want to add, the question was how to create conditions for trust. And now I am personally a fan to always start from the point, where am I and where are we at? And if we all believe, yes, we are trustful beings and I trust and I live in a circle of friends that trust, it's not much motivation for the work. So for me, a big part of is discovering without judgment that our whole culture, in my understanding, certainly myself, we are conditioned into not trusting. And I just want to bring very simple examples that you might try yourself, which is just a question, what would I do if I would fully trust now? And let's say I grew up in Berlin. So I am 17 years old in Berlin. I am fully in love. It's spring. I go out and I ask the question, what would I do if I would live in a society, a culture of trust? I would maybe hug the next person. Maybe I would go out naked. Maybe I would tell the policeman at the corner who keeps, or my teacher. There are infinite moments where you can catch with that question, how would I act now in this moment if I would fully trust? If I would know I can express myself without any guilt or shame or fear. So that's one thing, just very general. And I made it now a little bit stereotypical, but test it for yourself. And the other one is a little bit closer to the issue of love and sexuality related to our relationships. And there, creating conditions for trust is to discover that we are not in trust, I say. And that is the situation. You are in the situation of asking your partner or being asked, it doesn't matter, what did you just think? And I make it even more extreme. So I'm with my beloved and the eyes follow, like there's an attractive person passing and the eyes follow, and I go like, what did you just think? And she says, oh, I was thinking that this person reminds me of. And if we are not determined together to excavate more truth, this will be it. But the point is that we always keep asking each other, what did you just think? In moments where we are conditioned to give some kind of answer, which is not the truth, which is not trustful. So I challenge you also in these moments when you are with people and you ask these kind of questions to just check in for a moment and consider the possibility to truthfully and trustfully say what is going on. Yeah, and conditions for that, in my experience, is self-knowledge, deeper and deeper self-knowledge, and to start working on these layers, a circle of agreement, consensus, consent to say we want to go deeper with each other. And we do that in service of a culture of truth. And without that agreement, you can start speaking the truth about other people or invite it for yourself. But it does need the circle where we say like, okay, we want this truth to also have a space to process it, that it really becomes healing. And for me, this is the first condition, Isabel, to you. It's like really find a group of people who say like, okay, we want another layer of truth and trust, because that's a starting point.
Wow, thank you. Nobody asked to slow down, and nobody asked for it, but I realized this was a lot. And maybe even to make sure that we are together, I want us to take a minute for the one point that you mentioned, Benjamin, of first, I ask each one of you, each one of us, just to stay with the thought, I don't have trust, or although I think about myself as a good person, I was conditioned, I was raised, I came to a point of actually not trusting. And this is the basic situation. And just to stay with this question, understanding, insight, grieving, just for a moment. Thank you also for the pain that comes with this possibility, with this insight. And now also to take the other question of asking ourselves what I would do if I would have trust. Now with my life, with my love partner, in the Zoom, what would be my truth if I would have trust? Trust in myself, trust in the surrounding, trust in God. And let's stay with this, I hope, inspiring and open-hearted question. Thank you. I'm very curious. I would interview each one of you to know what went through your heart and mind in these moments. And before we continue with listening to more questions, I want to invite us to stand up. Also you, I think we were sitting for a long time. You don't need to look to the screen, take a break. You can close your eyes and start with 3 deep breaths, actually. Close your eyes and deep breath from your nose. Awareness to the breathing and maybe even gratitude to the breathing. What a miracle that we breathe. And now still with closed eyes, just shake your whole body. Shake your head and shoulders, hands, fingers, butt, belly, legs. Make faces. Shake to make sure that our body is with us and active. Thank you. And now we can slow down and give a good tapping. Take your hand and tap on your body. Remind your body or give gratitude to your body. Thank you for being alive. Tap your hands and your chest, your belly, your back. Oh, my back is grateful for this touch. Your butt, your legs. Also your face gently with your fingers. Tap your face with gratitude. Thank you. You can give a good hug to yourself, massage a bit the hands, the shoulders. And I invite us to sit down and to become normal again.
No.
Normal.
Okay. Normal.
Thank you. it's sweet to see all of us also in these not normal positions. Thank you for going along. And I would invite now Forrest. Forrest, if you can open your microphone and bring your question to us.
Can you see and hear me okay?
We can hear, we cannot see you. You need to open the...
Oh, sorry.
camera.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah, my question is when in the course of a relationship, the fundamental inability to speak truth, for example, due to emotional reactivity, has become so big, or fear has become so strong that it's a rut, that it's like, you know, it's very cemented in, it doesn't move, it's very stagnant. What is your experience with facilitating, you know, coming back into a healing dialogue, or coming back into a place of being able to speak truth?
Thank you. Thank you for the question. And yeah, please bring also the stories that are coming with it. It's not only a theoretical question, it's also from your experience. Maybe you can open a door to places in which the emotions and the identification took you and what helped you.
That's still for me asking the question to bring the story. Yeah.
Again?
Is that
This I refer to Benjamin and Babette. I thank you for the
Great.
question. And I underline that it's not only a theoretical question, I ask them to bring their own experience. Thank you, Forrest.
Yeah, I think you are asking the question where it's touching the key point, because normally if we are in a relationship and we are in this high power of love and sexuality, then all these points are touched, the wounds are touched, the fear is touched. And normally we are not able to solve truths only in this close relationship. There are points where, for example, one partner feels attracted to someone else and the other one mainly has this don't go away. And I think we all know this from our childhood. We all have this kind of fear point. And for me, it was the main learning in it was the community building. I could say, if you want to be faithful to your partner and in truth with your partner, we need a whole community body around it. And to create this aspect and this protection, this is in a way the architecture of a social design where we can really share our love relationships. And my learning was, if I was really, often I was at points where I felt fear or I was so identified. And the main learning was, this is not me. This is my pain body. This is my pain body from where all these reactions come. And so I come back to the point what I mentioned already in the beginning, that we notice more and more and more that there is someone who is bearing witness all of this. And I had to discover that there, beyond all our pain and wounds and identifications, there is a healthy part. And this, we can relearn to reconnect to this. And the community body, in a way, is supporting this process, can help this process, that it can happen. And for me, it was, I still remember moments when I was running here in our valley, full of drama, full of fear, of anger, all of this.
What was the drama? What was the fear?
There were moments where I can't really relate anymore to it fully, but I think the main drama was that I had a different longing than my partner, and that maybe he had another wish than I had. Very simple, but in the moment where your point is touched, it feels dramatically. And I remember these moments when I was in this pain, and in 1 second, I could leave the pain behind by recognizing this is not me. And I notice it also now when I come back from Brazil, from people who are living under really challenging circumstances, where a woman suddenly shared that she always felt so jealous, and suddenly she noticed, wow, this is my pattern. I react like this, like I learned it and I can relearn. And for this, I would say we need community and we need awareness about what is the point, what is conducting me right now? Is it my fear or is it my trust? And I think we can become more and more aware. And it needs, especially if a relationship is really in this strong drama, it needs the protection of the community where we can share with others. And often I notice if I'm in the drama, don't go to your partner, go to a tree, just give it out there. And then if you recognize more what it is about, come back and share.
Thank you.
Mm.
I would love to hear
Mm.
your experience as well.
So we are in this online community for the seminar. So even though I know Uri will ask me in a moment, so, but what is your experience in your relationship? I will insist that we first widen our understanding. Because Forrest, you said in the relationship, if it has become so reactive that you cannot talk with each other anymore. And for me, if you as a partner or as a couple want to enter like healing work in love and sexuality, for me, it's a really important starting point to say what is condensing or concentrating in our love relationship and plays out as anger and disappointment and disability to speak the truth is cultural compilation, I wanted to say, piling up like a lot of patterns that are deeply ingrained in our culture, and they concentrate in our love relationship. And that is a very different point. It's a very different starting point than when I'm just thinking, okay, I am disappointed. This is my lover. So it's her fault that I'm disappointed. It just doesn't work that way. And there are, and then I'm very close to what Sabine just said. She mentioned the tree. And I said, and I had that, Uri, a few nights ago with my partner. We have a very busy life, and so many times about the nuances or more subtleties of our partnership and love, we have late night conversations. And when we hit a point where one of us is getting emotional for a few minutes, our agreement is to say like, okay, this doesn't have to do with us right now, with our real situation. It is an older wound. And just this agreement is doing miracles often. If we remind each other, yes, I see you are angry, actually I am as well, but because it is ongoing, it has nothing to do what we are talking right now, but with a much older wound. And what we often do is just going apart, even for a few minutes, like in everyday life. This is like, I make a tea, I go to the toilet. We both focus on what is real in the contact, and we come back together. And we also allow a miracle to occur. Because many times when I take away my reactions from the situations changes in that second. It was just threatening because I was totally sure that she would leave me in this moment. I go make a tea and go like, Benjamin, what's going on? This has nothing to do with the situation. This is a very old, many times biographically, a childhood memory. And just noticing that and accepting that, we come back together and we can look, okay, what's really going on with each other in this moment? And then I can also say, because you mentioned the reactivity, Forrest, that with social architecture, I really like, maybe not as a method, but as a very simple structure, to start listening to each other and give that a structure. Because many times she says something, I say something, we both go, and then the inner reactions are even more. And after a few moments, nobody knows who has been triggered where and what word gave what word. And so this very simple, especially in relationship, and it's called compassionate listening or diets. There are many names for it. I don't care about the name, but if you're in a conflict and you make a commitment, I will be as silent and receptive as I can to listen to your story and perception of it. And I might disagree from the first second on, and I might have emotions with it that make sure that I am right with my disagreement, but I make the commitment to listen to you. And that is a very simple and magical structures. And it, yeah, different names for it. And there's actually Rudolf Steiner says that amazing thing, that love is the experience of the other in your own soul. And this is a chance to really listen to another person and just quiet down your reactions for a moment and really try to perceive that other person. When somebody does that to me, I feel accepted in a way that most of daily life I don't, because somebody is lending me their full attention. Yeah. And that's something that is very current in my life, in my relationships, Uri.
Well, thank you. Thank you both for bringing the Geist, we call it, the thinking and the reminder of the historical background that we are coming from, bringing it together with our own experience. And I think it's important not only for the juiciness, which I love, but also for people to relate, to be able to relate. So for me, it was really meaningful when you said the fear was that she is leaving me. It's not just a fear, or the anger is his longing were different than my longing. It makes it more accessible, and also how you dealt with it, going to a tree or having an agreement of reminding each other of the bigger perspective or the historic perspective, which is, I'm very happy that tomorrow the issue of the webinar will be stepping from collective trauma to forgiveness. So we will zoom in exactly to this reminder moment of how to step out of the drama with the help of an historic or political decision. So thank you. We have time for one or two questions, I hope two. And let's ask Zoe, Cosima, and Paul, 3 people together that will bring one question to us.
It'd be nice
Hi.
where the people are.
It's true. And from now on, we want to introduce a question that we have to you. When you start your question, start with saying, where are you now?
Hello from Brandenburg in Germany. We are young parents, Zoe, Cosima, and I. And in our group, we first were trying to get accustomed with your question or your topic and shared resonance to how you introduced yourselves. We were wondering which architecture is already existing or not. And then later, though, I for myself was wondering, an interesting question for me personally would be, how do you deal with truths that are possibly ugly or perverted, or like if I were having truths within myself that might not be socially acceptable or safe, or like how does one self and maybe also in community or in those spaces respectfully yet how does one respectfully deal with that?
Thank you. Thank you also for bringing children into this realm of learning together, love. Yeah, we asked before, what is truth? And this question is, what are the borders of truth? Or does truth need borders? Or what if truth is actually ugly? How we can embrace it or correct it, if I understood the question.
Yes, this is how I heard it as well, and you can let us know whether we hit the point or go the right direction. We have an orientation in Tamara and that says, bring as much truth to the space as there is trust to embed it. And to just throw out to a partner or the public or the community a truth that will just explode everybody because it's about your sadistic sexual fantasies that you have never spoken about, and you do it as at the wedding of your sister. This will be a very uncomfortable place to speak this. But there are places where you can speak that. And the magic of it is if there is trust enough to understand that what you are bringing, especially if it's ugly truth, is not just you yourself, but that we are participants of a collective that has as an underground and unconscious and a suppressed layer in all of society, these ugly things. And it's these ugly things that usually destroy all the relationships that start so beautifully. You know, happy end at Hollywood. There's a picture, and what comes then? And it's all pink and beautiful. And then there are these ugly truths that are also within us. So for me, the deep work is to, again, in a group, in a partnership, to say we want to know these underlying impulses that usually constantly attack the harmony that we strive for. And many times, a big part of that is publicity. I can tell my partner, my children, my lovers, my teachers, things in a circle which are very, very hard to tell one-on-one. I know we are conditioned usually, oh, this I will only tell her in private. But in our experience of growing culture, it's actually the opposite, that many times a much safer space is the public with more people. Just not so long ago, we had a seminar just a few weeks ago in Germany, and there was a young couple. They had she was pregnant, and we created a situation of how they are feeling with it. And actually, the young father of the unborn child said that he's shit scared and that he is really, really not just looking forward, but actually freaking out and has impulses to run away 5 times a day. And in a normal situation, like one-on-one relationship, this probably would have been a catastrophe. This could lead to separation and a lot of drama. In this situation, it landed in the space, and actually the mother, the pregnant woman, could hear it, and could hear it as his process with becoming a father, with having this kind of commitment, with actually sacrificing his free life. And she could hear all this, and at the end of listening to him fully, she could say, thank you for speaking this truth. And as it was spoken and held in the space, it is way less likely that it will explode the partnership and the parenthood when the child is there and when these tight situations come. Yeah, it's one example that was for me really moving, because it was, we just had an introduction to truth and he just used that space. And I was impressed by his courage to speak this society. Everybody is happy. She's pregnant. Everybody is happy. And he just spoke that he's like not happy at all. And then afterwards, after having spoken that, he was so happy and he could say, oh, I'm looking so much forward to this child. But only after he spoke this truth, this ugly truth. And there was a deeper layer that he's excited and scared and insecure, but actually looking forward.
Thank you. Maybe to share some aspects, because for me, you can say truth can be very hurting. And so for me, the conditions to share truth is that there is a group of people who really want to know. So it is something, I know many groups who want to come together without a higher commitment. For what are you going? I would say, for example, I want to know the truth because I face the situation on this globe, and because I know there is happening so much violence, and I want to figure out how can we solve it? How can we find solution to transform violence into contact? And then you are much more able to listen also to ugly truths. And so it's, for me, it's, you can say a truth to make someone really, give him a bad feeling, or is it coming from real compassion? Is it really coming from interest and support and compassion? And then I want to bring in that for us, the forum, it was shared before, is a very important tool, or was, or is, where we learn to share an inner truth without making it dependent to someone else, or without relating it too direct to someone else. For example, if I'm really jealous, it's much more easy to say, I love you, I'm faithful to you, than saying I'm really jealous. So normally we hide this negative truth, and we had to find spaces where we were able to bring this to the stage, and their art was very, very helpful, because if we tell the truth too naturalistic, we create often even the problem even bigger. And so it's always this learning not to be identified with something where I think this is my truth. And so I feel that there is happening so much violence on this planet Earth because we suppress so many things, because we think they are ugly, we cannot share them. And so a community who wants to solve this has the task, how can we create spaces that this truth can be shared on a common geistic level. And then we can hold it together. And when it's feeling like being a midwife to find from the problem directing to solution. Yeah.
Thank you. Thank you. I wish just to continue to the next question in order to have as much possibilities, knowing that we have a lot of questions. I want to invite Anahi to bring your question.
And also to say where she is.
And also to say where she is. Anahi, are you still with us?
Maybe she's unmuted. There's someone speaking and we don't hear it.
No. Anahi from Chile. I already know from
yes. Good day, good day. I was not sure. Thank you for being here together and for all the experience that you're sharing. And my question is, I was seeing similar questions on the chat, is I live in a rural place in the south of Chile. I feel kind of lonely in the new paradigms view. And I have a deep longing to live in truth and express truth and communicate in that way in different layers. But it's difficult if you are not like with others. And I was sharing now with my friend that I understand you could do this because you have a community that was holding the individual processes. So I don't know, probably many times many people ask this, and we have the longing to create a community here, but to start from zero, just to explain that this exists, is a huge process. So what can you share, knowing the huge cultural differences also? Because if I speak English, it's because we're privileged here also. It's different. So yeah, and opening also that question for people that are in the cities and in not communities that live alone somehow without so many people to create like trustful or safe vessel, as you say.
Thank you. Gracias.
Thank you for this question. It's so great to hear where you all are. And I think you are not alone with this question. And I also know how many people are longing for community, are trying to build community, and how many also fail. And so it's a deep question, and we cannot dive in the depth what would be necessary. But when you said the question, I was reminded to this old Chinese oracle book, the I Ching, and there it's a sign, the number 13 is saying community. And there it's said, check inside of yourself whether you are a pole and a founder for the community, then go for it. And if not, then be part of another community. And this is for me a universal answer. I think I said it before already, we are community beings. And this is the relearning for us as humanity. For me, in the future time, there will be many, many decentralized community who are able to communicate with nature, with life, with water, with fire. And we have this longing. And now to come in resonance, how far are we with this? And we were in the beginning, we were 3 people. We said we want to start. And now I think there are many communities, and often I have the feeling we could build a pilgrim's path on the globe. If you really want to build a community, to go to different communities and learn from them. It's like a profession to learn how can I hold community, how can I support, to be a trust pole for others, and even to visit indigenous people, indigenous tribes, to relearn. This is one answer. And the other one, if I would live in the city and had this deep longing, I would choose an issue which is really close to my heart, and then maybe invite people once a week. Let us meet. Let us study together this common interest. I always feel a community needs a higher common interest, and from there all the sharings, what we spoke about now, to learn to share trust and so on. And yeah, this is for me the most simple answer which comes to my mind, listening to you and knowing that so many people are longing for these communities. And let's start where we live, at the place where we live. And from there, look, how can we contribute to humanity as one community body on this globe, and finding common interest. A common interest can create solidarity, compassion, flexibility, diversity, and trust. I think you have to add.
Anahi, that's right, the name Anahi, unusual name. And in most things I agree, and I could say one thing, the way that you spoke in rural Chile, and you are alone, I could agree with all of that, and I actually do. I do feel you in what you spoke. And maybe that's another moment to say the choice for the level where we want to put our relationship, because I say I could agree and I can challenge you, because this awareness of like, oh, I am for the new paradigm alone in rural Chile, I can relate to it. I am in Portugal. I am part of this outsider avant-garde community that is really forward oriented and peaceful, and we really want the best. And it's the others that are not ready for my truth. And I say that, I'm not saying that it's strong in how you spoke, but there's always something of that awareness of separation left in it. And I feel the same thing what Sabine just said. Start. And the less you feel victim, the less you feel victim of a culture that with very, very good reasons make you not trust and all. I mean, you know the whole story. The less you feel that, the more attractive you will be to the people that actually dive in with you and say, we start something new. And we don't say, my upbringing makes it impossible to live these new paradigms, but we start now and live them as good as we can. And we gather the people that really want to. And I'm sure you know that, and I tell it to you anyway now. Good luck.
Thank you. Thank you for holding this question all together. Yeah, it's not your question, Anahi, it's our question. And thank you for the lines that we brought to start to answer this question. I want to send you again to breakout rooms. We got the feedback that the 7 minutes were not enough. The next time, now you will have 10 minutes to reflect on the question that Ruth is now sending to the chat. And this is, what do you take from this webinar? We spent the last 2 hours together. What do you take? Maybe you can focus on one insight that you gain and one friction point, one thing that actually I didn't understand or didn't agree, or it's annoyed me. So these 2 elements we invite you to share in couples or triplets, and you have 10 minutes for it, and we make the magic now, and then we come together. Close.
This needs
Close
to be-
now. Now there is a frame.
But you're on.
Welcome back. So actually we are so curious, although we have only a few minutes, we want one person to open your microphone and in one sentence to say your insight from this meeting that we had, and another person to open your microphone and say your friction point from the 2 hours, and you are the one to decide who it will be. So just open and do it.
Me, Graça?
Yes. Where are you now?
Yes, I am Graça from Portugal. I am from a traditional country, very hot and warm and so on, but with so many questions. And I would like to debate maybe next steps about the contents, about the word love. What you think about these contents about love? To me, the idea it is wider love. I have an idea. Because in our room, we did discuss about the differences between us and our partners, and sometimes we become a bit disappointed. But in a big love, in a big passion, maybe we shall be more, what is the word? More concentrated in this concept about love, because when I love the other in a wider love, maybe I am more open to understand difficulties of the other, maybe the constraints of the other. Okay, maybe it is what you was telling us during this evening, but I like to tell it about love, even if I shall look to trust, if I shall look to be truth. It is love that it is in my inner. Please help me to explain better in my difficulty.
Thank you. It was a long but important sentence.
Long, yes.
And I put it under the headline of friction point. Yeah. What do you mean when you say love? And when we say love, do we mean the same thing? And do we need to change our structures of what is love in order to learn now? Thank you. I leave it like this, and we will continue maybe from this point in the next webinars. And now I invite another person in one sentence, one clear sentence, one insight, one understanding that you learned, that you got in the last 2 hours.
Yes, Peter from Germany. Can you understand me?
Yes.
Yes. People are not ready for this. That really struck me, or the fear in me to go out and just bring with my heart what I think could be so helpful for me and others, and not to put myself on top, to say, oh yes, I am ready, but others are not. How ridiculous, how ridiculous. Just to be there and give and have trust that there's resonance, that there's big resonance. So thank you.
Thank you. But a beautiful point also to finish this time that we started together and to start our common journey, yeah, to continue to build trust and community in the time that we will have in the next 2 weeks. Thank you, Peter. Thank you, Graça. Thank you, all of us. We want to have a poll at Zoom and to ask you 2 questions that you can answer in an easy way. We hope it's the first time that we use this tool. One question is, how was the webinar for you? This webinar, the last 2 hours. 1 is terrible and 5 is fantastic. And just choose the number between 1 to 5, which is accurate for you, to give us feedback for the last 2 hours. It's not, no, it's not, don't use the chat. Don't use the chat. We have even better tool to use. And the other question is, do you want more time in the breakout rooms? Yes, we gave 7-10 minutes. Do you want more times? Knowing that it means less time for questions and answers, less opportunity for you to get answers from Benjamin and Babette. And now Ruth will bring the poll so you can answer it on your screen. And I think we will immediately see the answers. Yeah, also, thank you for the one who wrote 1 and 2, talking about not comfortably true. Thank you for daring.
One was terrible.
One was terrible and one was almost terrible.
One was terrible.
Okay. Thank you. And yeah, we'll do it in the end of every webinar, and it will give us a sense, to work with your feedback. And the other question is, do you want more time in the breakout rooms? I don't see the answer.
No. 70% no, 71% yes.
Okay, 70% said no. Thank you. This was clear and surprising, and I'm also happy with your clarity. Okay, we are over the time, but I take another 2 minutes to give some information. We realize that there are much more questions than we can answer, and we will take the chat and put it on Sutra, on the study platform that we encourage all of you to register. We saw that some didn't join yet. You will find there the recording of this webinar and the chat of it. And we want to ask the ones who still want to get answer for your questions to post their question as a post and to use the wisdom of the community to collect answers for your questions. So we will not come and answer every one of your questions, but we encourage you to start a dialogue, to start an investigation, a research among you for the questions that you gathered in this webinar. Is it clear? Can I see hands, or is it clear? Great. And the other request is that for tomorrow we'll meet with the same Zoom link in the same time for the issue of paths from collective trauma to forgiveness. And for this issue already now, before we present it, we want to encourage you to post your questions already in the next 22 hours. And to put it under the next webinar. So when you enter to Sutra, you will find one space which is dedicated to the webinar of today, the first webinar, and one for the webinar of tomorrow. And you can post your questions of today issue today, and for tomorrow. I think that's it. I am very grateful that we put a base, we created foundation for the next 2 weeks, talking about community, building community, starting to find the conditions for truth. So thank you for going along. Thank you very much, Benjamin and Sabine, for going along, for bringing yourself. And thank you so much for all of us for creating this global learning class. Thank you. See you tomorrow.
Thank you.